to the world. Subscribe now to the Hot 97 YouTube channel. It's Ebro in the Morning with Laura Stiles and Rosenberg.
Chris Rock, it took almost a year, but he finally opened up about how he really feels in his new Netflix special called Selective Outrage.
Oh, he gave out how he really feels. It was really, really feeling.
Yes. To me, this was one of the most cringe-worthy clips where I clutched my pearls. This clip where he talks about the affair.
Will Smith practices selective outrage. Because everybody knows what happened. Everybody that really knows I had nothing to do with that. I didn't have any entanglements. I did not have any entanglement. And for people that don't know, and everybody know, his wife was f***ing her son's friend, okay? Now, I normally would not talk about this, but for some reason, these put that on the internet. I have no idea why two talented people would do something that low down. What the we all been cheated on. Everybody in here have been cheated on. None of us have ever been interviewed by the person that cheated on us on television. None of us. It's like, hey, I was sucking somebody else's. How did that make you feel?
Oh man, and even though we all know the story and we talked about it, but just having him say it, like, it just
That's what happened.
You
know what though? But you know what? Like at that part, like yes, him mentioning specifically like fellatio felt like a little much. But I actually didn't hate that part. That part was funny. Like that part was actually funny because what they did was crazy. There's no way around that.
Facts.
Like we don't have to pretend like them doing that interview on Red Table Talk. I'm sure Will wouldn't for 1 second say that wasn't absolutely insane.
Everybody said it at the time. It's not even what Chris is saying. It's just that we all have short memory. And so hearing Chris say it right now reminds us how crazy it was. Right. Or if you didn't think it was crazy because you were just caught up in the salacious nature of the topic they were covering on Red Table Talk, it didn't dawn on you that it was like, oh yeah, wait a minute. She dragged him out there in front of the world and was like, yo, so yeah.
Right.
I was having sex with somebody else. How you feel about it?
Made him look soft.
Our son's friend. Oh.
And he's saying that's why he got slapped, because his wife made him look soft in front of the whole world, and his selective outrage after everybody was making fun of him was to slap his friend.
And by the way, and that's why fundamentally, I know we'll keep doing this in the 8, but fundamentally that to me is what is flawed about what Chris is saying. It wasn't selective outrage. It was you in that moment at that time. Chris, I highly doubt Will planned to throw away his big Oscar night by slapping you in the face. It wasn't selective. Frankly, he's probably been upset since every rapper on earth started dissing him in 1987.
It could have been selective, because what if somebody else said it? What if Eddie Murphy said it?
Well, I think it's all selective outrage, the term is to what Rosenberg is saying. It wasn't selective outrage, even though Will Smith selected that time to be outraged.
Right, exactly. He did select that time, but it wasn't selective outrage.
It was a build-up. It was a build-up.
Remember when
Eminem? It was projection. It was all of that.
Remember when M would just talk crazy about Will Smith on records for absolutely no reason because he talked about pop culture and he just treated Will Smith like a pop culture punching bag?
Yeah.
Like Will's probably got a lot built
you know
up.
how many times Will Smith had to talk about Tupac because of Jada?
That too.
Like, yo, I've had to talk about some dude that my wife dated before me multiple times, to the point where people will be like, yo, were you jealous of Tupac? Yo, and Jada, even besides all the entanglement and all of that talk, you know how many times Jada has rolled out Tupac memorabilia on his birthday?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's a
Love letters and
all this. You'd be like, yo, bro, y'all dated in high school. Like, what are we talking about?
Well, yeah, and it's not like even it's an ex-boyfriend. It's this godly figure that's beyond earth that I could never compete with. Like, it's a lot, man.
Well,
it's
so now all of us talking, now you know why Chris Rock is still pissed, because it's like, really, bro? And so then you want to hit me because I made a G.I. Jane joke?
Right.
But we said this when it happened. We've covered this exact thing and said all of these things that Chris Rock said on stage. The internet said it. Twitter said it. Everybody done said it. We've said it on the show. All of that. And as Chris Rock said in his stand-up, everybody been calling you a bitch for a minute. And now Chris Rock called you a bitch 20 times.
Yeah, he certainly did. He really put the hard B on that bitch too.
Oh man, he was living on it.
He was laying into it. Damn.